Welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you the A to Z of QwenPaw. So we're going to be going through how to set up and use QwenPaw successfully. I have done a video before on QwenPaw, but that was before version 2.0.0. QwenPaw has long upgraded and has added several features since my last tutorial. So I deem it fit to start another tutorial where I go end to end. So I'm going to be showing you how to use the best personal assistant in the world. So we will continue by looking at what QwenPaw is. So QwenPaw is a personal assistant that runs in your own environment. So imagine QwenPaw to be this thing that can do everything you can do. So most of the tasks that you can do, QwenPaw can do them. So QwenPaw is there to assist you on doing your jobs. And in order to assist you, this is what QwenPaw uses, a multi-channel chat. That means within QwenPaw, you have the ability to communicate using Telegram, Discord, WeChat. So these are all what QwenPaw calls channels. Apart from that, you can schedule execution of tasks. So with the help of QwenPaw, you could, for example, create what they call cron jobs. You could create a job, for example, daily morning report. You could want to get some report based on some time. So then you have powered skills for unlimited possibilities. With QwenPaw, you will be able to install skills of your choice. Skills are like recipes that enable your AI, for example, to browse the internet. You see? Chat with an agent that enable your agent to read a file, send email. Like this one is responsible for sending email, to make a skill itself. So skills are the extensibility potentials that your agent have. The ability to send, local model support. So with the help of QwenPaw, you can run your own model locally. You don't need to subscribe for any other agent. Look at here, it's called the QwenPaw local. That means you could set up your own models. If you install this Lalama CPP, you'll be able to run local models using QwenPaw. So this is the power that QwenPaw gives you out of the box. Apart from that, all your data stay locally. So as you could see, this is my QwenPaw installation. So for each of my agents, so if you see here, if I come for this agent, and let's look at a typical agent like this lead generation agent. If I click here, you see my data lives inside of my system. So in my drive, as you can see the location of where my data lives. So multi-layer security. With QwenPaw, you have security. You have security. And look at security here. So you could see you have tool guard, you have file guard, you have skill scanner. So if you download a skill that is not good, or you want to delete a file, QwenPaw will prompt you to take an action, whether you want that file should be deleted or not. With this, you won't mistakenly hurt yourself by doing something that you are not supposed to do. So this is enough of QwenPaw. So we're going to be moving ahead to try to install QwenPaw. So if you look at here, in the quick start section of the docs here, there are a lot of ways to install QwenPaw. One of it is to use pip install for people that are Python developers. Another one is to call script install. So this is, to me, this is the way. This is the way we are going to be using in this tutorial. Because by using script install, if you are installing on your system, this enables you to have the whole of QwenPaw. That means you can have the desktop, you can have the web, you can have the terminal. So if you install, for example, using the desktop app, I think I'm not really sure, but I think things don't really go well as this script method. So for now, I will restrict everything for this section to be on the script method. So we're going to be using script to install. So, and another way is that QwenPaw has this platform called Agent Scope. So within the Agent Scope platform, so you could, if you just want to try QwenPaw to see whether it's something for you or not, you could use this method, which is the Agent Scope platform. So the agent, look at how it looks like. So if you click here, it's going to take you to the Agent Scope platform. So it's on platform.agentscope.com. So you could see here you can deploy your own QwenPaw completely free on the internet. So you could see here that I could say continue running and my instance of QwenPaw could start. So if you don't have a QwenPaw at all installed, you could start a fresh instance of QwenPaw and be able to use it online without actually installing it. If this is what you want, it's free actually to play around with this. So let's go ahead to install it using my favorite way of installing it, which is using a script. So this is the script we are going to copy. So depending on whether you are on Mac or you are on Windows. So if you feel like you want things easy, for example, you don't feel you could continue using the command line, because using the script will require you starting the terminal and using the command line. So you could use this download So QwenPa also have like a desktop application where you can download. This is by far the easiest way to work with QwenPa. So if you feel like this is the way to go, I will advise you to just come here, download the version, and that's all. You just need to download and install, just like any other app you've installed on your system. Just install it and it will be good to go. So you still have the same interface, but it's just that this will be as a desktop application. You don't need to do anything. It's by far the easiest way to install. So if you come here on the ways of installation, if you look at it here, you will see what they talk about the desktop application. It's a user unfamiliar with the command line. So if you fall into this category, come search for QwenPa and look at this download button at the top and download the desktop app. So this is easy. Just double click and that's all. So the installation is done for you. So, but if you want to go through this method, which is the script method, this is the one I'm going to be covering in this tutorial. So I'm going to show you, so you could skip, if you want to install via the desktop app, you could skip this part of this tutorial and move ahead to the parts where I actually show you how to use QwenPa. So let's get the script now. So we'll be coming here. So I'm going to copy the script. So next, I'm going to open my terminal. So this is my terminal. So because I have QwenPa installed already on my system. So if you don't have it installed, all you need to do is just paste this command. So look at the command here. So you copy this and immediately you press enter, QwenPa will be installed on your system. But because I already have QwenPa installed on my system, so you see me kind of like, so I'm going to use the command C to kind of like clear, and I'm going to show you what. So if you have QwenPa installed, you have access to this utility, which is like a command line tool called QwenPa. And with this QwenPa, you could use it to do a lot of things. For example, one of the things, if your QwenPa is troubled, you could use what they call the QwenPa doctor. So the QwenPa doctor will help you fix your QwenPa. There are so many things that this can do, but so QwenPa doctor, for example, if I run it, it's going to help me kind of like check my current installed QwenPa to see if my QwenPa is currently behaving normally. So you could see, it could check for my active LLMs and it could tell me, oh, this thing is okay, this thing. So for my agents, it could check everything and it could tell me, for example, look at, I have a local model running here. Just like I told you that QwenPa comes with their own model that performs incredibly well while using QwenPa. So this is it. So I'm going to click here to copy, and then I'm going to switch back to my terminal. So in the terminal, I'm just going to make sure that, let's use Command C to get out of it. And then I'm going to paste this command. So this is what I need to install QwenPa. So this is what you will be doing. So you see, so officially I am installing QwenPa. So the script will do all the installation process for you. So you see, look at it has happened. QwenPa has been installed successfully. So that's why I said, just search for the terminal program on your laptop and just paste this command. This is by far the easiest way to install QwenPa. Immediately you install QwenPa, it tells you what to do. For first time setup, you can do QwenPa init, and then you can also run the QwenPa app. So if you are using like this, either the ZSH or the batch terminal, depending on which one you're using, you could just source it. You know, if you want, you could just, you know, paste this one here, and this could make sure that your terminal is being refreshed. So you could do for bash also, if you are using batch, your batch also, you could just paste it here, and the same thing that happened will also take place. You see, so I'm using ZSH, so we shouldn't bother about that. So the next thing we need to do is actually start QwenPa. So QwenPa has, so you have the ability to start the desktop app also if you install using the script. That's why I said install using the script. So if you do -- help here, you're going to see like all the commands that you will be able to use while you're using QwenPa. So the QwenPa CLI exposes all these commands. So you could see, you could start QwenPa as an ACP agent, you see. So see how you could start QwenPa as an ACP agent. You could manage agents. You could manage agents and intelligent communication. Manage agent. So these ones are just synonymous to each other. So it's the same thing. It's an alias. So here you see app. This will start the Fast API app. So you see auth. This will manage web authentication. So if you want your QwenPa to be able to, for example, have for users to be able to log in when they want to use your QwenPa. So if you're hosting it on the internet, you could decide to use this auto-generate commands. So channels, you see, manage channels, chat. So clear QwenPa working directory, cron. So desktop, doctor, look at the doctor that I talked about, local sanity checks, env, manage environmental variable. You see, init, create working directory, models, plugins. So you could do a whole lot of things. One of the things you could also do is use the QwenPa TUI, open QwenPa terminal chat UI. So for example, if you like, you could just say QwenPa and then you could do -- you could say QwenPa TUI, and this will actually open So we'll come to this later. But for now, I just want us to do QwenPaw app. So this app, there is an installation. So you do QwenPaw app. So with this command, you just need to give it some time and then you go check on the browser. So look at it here. So you see, this is the address. So I'm just going to double click on it. Use system browser and you see, QwenPaw is already loading here. So the console is already loading. So you could see, we just need to give it some time for it to boot up and you will see the console. So as you can see, this is the web interface and these are all my agents that I've created so far. Most of them are software engineering agents. So this is the QwenPaw interface. So we have now installed QwenPaw using the script technique. So if you feel you want to just try QwenPaw just like that, you can come to platform.agentscope.io and then you could start your own QwenPaw. So you could just deploy QwenPaw and then you can open it like this. So this is QwenPaw. This is also QwenPaw. So you could see this one is if you just want to try QwenPaw without actually committing to installing it, you can also test it here. So now we'll start configuring QwenPaw from scratch. We'll start looking at the control section. So we'll go through all the control features here. So if you look at the docs also, there is this area called control. So the first thing we've seen so far is this console. So the console runs on this 127.0.0.8088. You could see it here, QwenPaw console. So this is the console. So the console, we've been able to see the console. So if you power the console, this is how it looks like. So so if you come to the UI, so I'm using the agent scope UI here. So for every agent that you have, so for example, you could see I have 3 default agents here. You always have a place here to select your models. So you could see one of the good things about QwenPaw is that you have free models. So you could select your model from here. So if you have configured the pro subscription, I don't have for now. So, and I don't intend using it unless we get to the section where we have to play with models. So the next thing we're going to look for here is the terminal UI. So this is optional. So it was just added in QwenPaw 2.0. So there's this thing called the TUI. So it's kind of like a graphic user interface on your terminal for you to be able to manipulate QwenPaw. So you could see here, you could say TUI and then you could put the agent name. So here we're just going to go with QwenPaw TUI. So we don't need to specify an agent now. So by default, chooses the default agent. So I can just ask it, for example, what do you do? So what do you do? So now if there's, look at it, it's already thinking based on the model that it uses. So it's actually using this free model. So it's telling me about his capabilities. So if you feel comfortable to work with QwenPaw like this, I think this is also, this could also work. You could actually select an agent. I think the agent I selected might have had some issues that I need to fix from the UI. So this is, you see, it's telling us example, I'm QwenPaw your personal AI. So this is what I can do. And I can use it directly from here. So let's close this TUI and move to the next topic. So we're going to close this tab. And the next topic we're going to be looking at is called channels. So you could see what channels are. So with channels, you'll be able to connect your QwenPaw instance to, for example, Telegram, WhatsApp, WeChat, or all those kind of stuff. So now if you look at this UI here, so here you could see we have an option here called channels. So for each of these channels, you see we are already using the console. The console here is this web app. So for example, the most common one I normally set up here is Telegram. So I'm going to be showing you briefly how to set up this channel. So if you want to set up Telegram, all you need is to provide this bot. So you just need to provide something called the bot token. So here. So this is what you need to provide. You need to provide the bot token from botfather. So if you're used to Telegram, you're going to search for botfather. So botfather is like a special user in Telegram. And then you're going to do /newbot. And when you do /newbot, it's going to tell you, unfortunately, you cannot create new bot. So maybe I've exhausted the number of bots that I need to create. So it's going to ask you for the name of the bot. So you see here, when I said new bot, it said I have exhausted the number of bots I need to create. So you need to say /newbot. And then based on that bot, you get this kind of command here. So you see, so you copy this. So from creating the bot, so we're just going to take this one. So I'm going to copy the whole of this. I will revoke it after now. So it doesn't really matter. So I'm just going to come here and paste. So that's all you need to do and enable it here. So when you enable it here, and then what else do you need to do? I think this is all. So there are other options as well, like, so you could always come to this icon, this eye, to get more information on what you're actually doing. So if you want it to show typing, for example, let it show that someone is typing. If you want it to, for example, if you want to enable only whitelisted users can interact with the bot in direct messages, so you tick this. group access control. So for this, these are the minimal. So if you want to show thinking, you could decide to streaming output. So it depends on what you want, then you can save. So when you save here, automatically the bot has been enabled, the channel has been enabled. So you could see here. So when we come back to Telegram, we can open this. So you could see here, I was already chatting. There was something else that was helping me chat here. You see, I was building an app. So now we can try saying hi here to that channel. So let's make sure that everything is fine from the agent scope perspective. So do we have for this very one? Okay, we have this router, so everything is fine. So we could check our channel. Yes. So let's see what will happen if we decide to chat with this from Telegram. So here we're just going to say hi, and let's watch and see what is going to happen. So it sends if this is still going to work. So what we could do is so let's revoke current token. So the token for this has been revoked, the new token. So let's take this new token, and then we're going to pass this new token back. Let's go back here and then to channel, and here we're just going to update this token. Let's see whether this now works. So this one has been saved. Let's see what happened. We can come back to the bot itself, then we could say hello. Okay, look, it has responded. So this is what I was actually looking for. So we've revoked that and it has responded. So I could tell it not. So the reason, because not in Chinese. So the reason why this agent is doing like this, it was a default agent that came. So you see about me, name, role. So it's now, I will keep it in English from here. So you see, I'm interacting with this channel here. So I'm interacting with this channel. So how do we know? When you come to this section, you could see that there is a section here for that. So you could view. So this is the section. So you could see I will keep it in English. And then when you come back to Telegram, you see that the same message we are getting here. So we have the same section there. So the section is basically like so when you open a channel and you start chatting, you create a section. When you are done, that section gets closed, so you can start a new section. So this is it. So this is how to connect channels. So this applies to every other channel you want to connect to. So let's keep it here. So even though you want to connect to kind of like WeChat or any other channels you want to connect to, you still use almost the same procedure. You can also check the docs as well to know exactly what to do. So the next thing we're going to be looking at is magic commands. So QwenPaw has these magic commands. For example, when you've been chatting for long, if you want to create a new section, so you could see here, here is a new conversation prompt. So you are starting for new. So clear, you want to clear the whole of your history cleared prompt. So you see compact. There is also mission. So there are a whole lot of the new. Immediately clear the current context and start a fresh conversation. So you see clear, immediately clear the current context. You see there are so many of them. There's dump history, load history. There's a whole lot of, so this is what you call magic commands. So the one I use most frequently is the mission. So I'm just going to go to the chat terminal now. So here I just want to, about me, I can start with sensible default, name, role. So I will just tell it do defaults. So I'm just going to tell it to do defaults. And then I'm going to tell it that I am Savvy Coder. And that's all. So here, so it's going to set it for, and watch what is happening. I'm actually using a free model. So I'm not using anything paid, and I'm actually using it right now. So now our agent has been configured. So I could give it a mission now. So I can do a mission now. So you could see this is mission. So mission, if you see mission here is decomposes tags into sub commands. So you see, then there is clear the conversation code. There's new to create a new conversation from scratch. Then there's skill, list available skills. So these are what you call magic commands. So if you say skills and then you press enter, so this is going to list all the available skills that are available for this agent. So you could see here that we have browsers, channel message, chat with agent, cron. You could see all CLI for managing email, make skill. So if I want to make a skill now, I could say make plan, make skill. So then I could put what I want to make a skill in. Let's say I want to make a skill on Vue.js. Vue.js is actually a framework for writing web applications. So I could say make skill Vue.js. Then I could put like 3 and I could send it. So it will actually start making a skill based on Vue.js. If I feel like my conversation length things are becoming slow and the auto compacting does not happen, QwenPaw doesn't reduce my conversation length by itself, I could use like this, a magic command called compact. See? There's also this magic command here called multi-agent collaboration. So you could decide, for example, and say this agent will collaborate with this agent. So in the docs here, we could see what each magic command does. You see, so this is where you could kind of like go through all of it. Look at the goal, the one I'm talking about, /goal. You describe a task. Look at mission. So mission mode for multi-agent autonomous execution, decompose data into user stories and complete them through a master worker verifier pipeline with context isolation. So I use this almost all the time when I'm kind of like creating a task. So like, let's say I'm building a software or doing something. So I use this almost all the time. So you want to like check the docs to see other ones as well. So look at compact. I think this one is to compact your current context. So there is new, clear context and save memory. So this is very helpful too. There is history, view current conversation history. So if you want to look at your conversation history by yourself, so there is summarize status, there is dump history. There's a whole lot of magic commands. So the next thing we're going to be looking at is cron jobs. So these are scheduled tasks. So for example, if you say remind you to stand up every 25 minutes during work hours. So these are the kind of things you want to put in your cron jobs. So you want to, for example, you could tell it, for example, to tell you if a website has actually changed from yesterday. So every day you kind of like read to know what has happened to a particular website. Let's see. It looks like I have closed that particular instance of QwenPaw, so I need to open it back again. So the easiest way is kind of like to check my history, and then I open recently closed. So I think this could be alive. So now what I want to do now is to show you how to set up a cron job. So look at cron. So there are too many ways you could do it. You could do it from a template. You see. So here you could say use this template. So I would always advise recurring, schedule, recurring. This one will always be happening. Weekends. So you could use any of these templates. So if, for example, if I decide to use this, so you see it will already pre-fill some information for me, making it easy for me to just modify and create. So here you're putting the name of your job. Here you're kind of like saying it's active. Here you mean that each of the result of its execution should be saved to your inbox. And then here you're talking about the type as recurring. That means it will keep happening. Therefore, so here you're putting a custom schedule. So you could also say it will be happening daily, weekly. So, or you could put a custom cron job. And here you see it telling you exactly what here this one means 9 a.m. daily. So if you want to run something similar, you could just take this one. So like this one means every 30 minutes. So this one means Sunday night. You can even use an online generator to generate the cron that fits to your tax. And then you could set tax that could run. But one of the things I've seen if you don't want to like create from scratch, means all the values will be empty for you to fill it from scratch. I will always advise to start from template. But another thing you could do is that within your chat terminal, you could tell it to create a cron. Just tell it, write me a poem every 10 minutes. You see? And then set as a cron. So simple. If I send this, it is the agent itself will be the one to create that. So you see, there is a particular skill that your agent has that it will be able to call that skill. So if you look at your skill, there is actually a skill here called cron. So it comes with QwenPaw, although we have not reached there yet. So you see this skill. So this is what QwenPaw is going to use, which is kind of like a recipe that tells it how to create that cron for you. And you could also create the cron using command line. So this is just to tell you how it can do that. Why it's able to do that is because of this skill. So let's go back to our chat window now. You could see that with time, our cron will actually be created. So it said, let me also pick at the cron. So when it's created, it's not been created yet. If it's created, we're going to see it here. So for the fact that it did not show up here, it means it's not been created. So I could nudge it again by just saying do, and we could wait and see what actually happens. So at the end of the day, our cron job is going to be created. So the next thing we're going to be talking about, let's go back to the docs, is your heartbeat. So heartbeat in QwenPaw means it's kind of something that makes QwenPaw, it's a message that will be sent to QwenPaw in a fixed interval. For example, more like something reminding you. So in QwenPaw, heartbeat means on a fixed interval, ask QwenPaw the question you wrote in a file. So QwenPaw has this set of files. So we're going to see them here. So they are called files. So they are here. And one of them is the heartbeat.md. So whatever content that is in this file, so you look at the file. So currently now it has like some Chinese content. So you could put content. We're going to talk about how to write your heartbeat.md, how to replace it with some very nice information. So if you activate your heartbeat here, so you could activate your heartbeat, you could talk about the interval that your heartbeat will be executing. So for example, this one is 6 hours, every 6 hours, and the execution timeout, how long it will last, how long your heartbeat will be running. So it's kind of like a wake-up call to QwenPaw that tells it what to do. So with multiple, each agent can has its own heartbeat.md file. So you saw for that particular agent, that's the heartbeat.md file. And what is actually in your heartbeat.md file? For example, you could see here, it could be scan inbox for urgent email, check calendar for the next 2 hours, review stock to-dos, like check if I'm quiet for 8 hours. So you see, so this is kind of like what can make your agent. So the heartbeat is a feature within your agent that can make your agent run 24/7. So what you could also do directly from the console here is to modify your heartbeat. So you could actually, for example, look at our cron. It looks like it hasn't still been created. So our cron hasn't been created. So let me see what is actually happening. So let's see. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to open a new chat window. I'm going to paste this. And right now I'm going to change this model to some like, let's see. Let's try this and see what it will be able to do. So maybe the model cannot really, it's kind of like a free model, so I don't expect much from it. But let's see what it will do here. So I'm also going to open another chat window here. I'm going to tell it to modify my heartbeat. So we could also chat with the model here to modify our heartbeat, or you could just come here and directly make changes to your heartbeat. So but I think the best thing to always do is to, so you could see here there's a save button here. That means when you modify it, so there's also a code mode here as well. So we can enter code mode. I think that might be able to give us access to edit it. But I think the best thing to always do when you power your heartbeat is to ask the agent itself to modify your heartbeat to the level that you want your heartbeat. So the message that you want QwenPaw to be prompted all the time. So that's enough on heartbeat. So you could see here they are talking about the fields in your heartbeat. And here they are talking about the difference between a heartbeat and a cron job. So for the cron, many jobs, you see, so many. So for the heartbeat, you have just one single file. So for a single agent, you could create many cron jobs. Each job has its own schedule. So this one is global for your agent. So one global interval. You see, delivery optional, last channel or none. Each job set channel and user. So for cron job, you could decide to, for example, send it to best for fixed checklist and digest, many tags, times, and content. So if you want to remind us, so cron jobs will always be the way to do it. Heartbeat is more or less like what is fundamental to how your agent works. So I think that's all I'm going to say for that for now. So the next thing we're going to be looking at memory. We're going to be looking at long-term memory. Before we even go into long-term memory, so I want to take you back to the console and let's kind of like check what we've been trying to. See. Did I send it? Okay, so it is expected because these are all free models. Sometimes they decide not to work. So depending on the traffic. So what we're going to be doing at some point is that I'm going to be connecting a model. So or let me switch to something like this. So this is my own hosted QwenPaw. I'm using this one personally. For example, I could ask it, what do you do? So what do you do? So and then what we're going to do here is that I'm going to set a cron job here. So what do you do? So look at how fast it is. So this is actually because I'm using the Mimo subscription plan. So you see I find businesses that need AI automation. I capture their info. I write personalized outreach. I present them to the team. So you see, this is what this agent does for me. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to tell it to give me create a cron that updates me on current status every day. So you see, this is going to do it quite well because this is actually a very good agent. So let's see, kind of like refresh. I don't know what's happening. So let's just hit here. So now we see what is happening. So it's going to create this cron and then we're going to see the cron here. So, and we can create multiple cron jobs for this. So let's kind of like see what it's going to do. See, it read the skill quite fast. So this is kind of like, you begin to see the difference between a paid model and a free one. So you see it's actually running the chat list. So it's doing a lot of stuff here behind it. So now it's actually asking me questions. So I will just say 9 a.m. 9 a.m. So I will say all, and it's asking me for channel, I will say console. So console, it means on the web app here, it's gonna update. This is what I'm going to be giving to the agent. So you could see that this is actually using an older version of QwenPaw, which is version 1. But you don't actually see changes on the UI. One last thing, what time zone? So I'm just going to give it UTC. It has all the information it needs to create so now it's running the cron create command. So you see, this is what a good model does. See, it's able to follow. It's done. You see, because so the cron has been created. So if I come here and check, you see, you already have a cron here, and you see the ID. So this is what we're talking about. I can execute it now and actually see the results on the console. So this is because this model is quite good as opposed to the other model that I was using for free. So that is why in some cases you have to have a good model if you want to be able to do your model to be able to follow your tools effectively. So the heartbeat tool can also be modified using the same approach that I showed you, but you have one heartbeat to many cron jobs that you could create. So the next thing we're going to be looking at is memory. So we talked about memory. So QwenPaw has a whole stuff here that shows you exactly how it handles memory. So there's a lot here, but what I want to just show you is look at this so far. So this is how your workspace is. So QwenPaw is going to create something here called memory. So it stores stuffs in this kind of like your daily notes in this kind of format. So I'm going to show you briefly so that you see how it stores this format. So let's go back to this agent. Let's use this. So within here, I will switch to code mode so that you have access to the workspace. So when I switch to code mode, let's see what happens. So that we'll be able to have access to all the files that are in the workspace. So the essence here is for you to see how QwenPaw is storing stuff. So here you see here that it has this file called memory.md. So when I told you that I say I prefer communication in English, not Chinese, you see the identity of my agent. So you could see jobs. When I created mission, you could see all the skills that are available to my agent. You could see some files here, some backup files here for memory backups. So if we look at another typical agent, let's look at this lead generation here. We switch to code mode also. So you will see the way QwenPaw, because the conversation there are kind of like small. So let's see. So look at what I'm talking about. So you see memory, and you see for each day, you kind of like see how QwenPaw is going to be storing your stuff. So if I open this one, for example, so you're going to see what is actually happening here for each of the day. So you see today I created a cron job. So you see it's keeping a stock of all that you are doing while working with it. So that is the much we're going to be covering about memory, and for the fact that your memory is evolving and proactive. So you could see QwenPaw is kind of like giving you an idea of how your memory evolves. So the next thing I'm going to be showing you is your coding mode. So I just showed you this is on beta. So this is just switching this chart to coding. So we already did it here, and you see you could have access to your files. You could play around with everything in your workspace. So for example, you see everything here will be editable for you. So if you're able, this is quite interesting. So you can switch back to chat mode and you have access to your chat. Imagine this model, it wasn't able to create a cron job, but you see how this other model was able to crunch it. So that should tell you that if you really want to enjoy QwenPaw, you should either use their own model. So they have a free model that you can use. I'm going to come to that later. So the next part we're going to be talking about the agent. So I'm going to be fast about this part. So we're going to talk about agent. So agent persona, multi-agent, skills, MCP and building tools, context, loop engineering, config directory, and working directory. So let's go through all of this one after the other. So in the agent part, I will be a little bit fast. So we will be creating an agent from scratch, and then I will walk you through most of the stuff you're seeing here, like this config directory and working directory and everything that they're kind of like talking about when it comes to QwenPaw. So you see, so we're going to talk about all these stuffs within this agent before we go to settings, and talk about other stuff. So let's look at the agent. So you see, so far we've talked about the control. So the next thing we're going to talk about is this section that has to do with your workspace, which is your agent. So we're going to talk about tools, we're going to talk about MCP, we'll talk about skills, we'll talk about ACP, we'll talk about the whole of this part. We talk about all these parts. So now I'm just going to be going from one section to the other. So the first thing we're going to do now is to create our agent. So to create an agent, you need to come to agent management to create an agent. So you create your agent here. So you're going to click on create agent. So in this case, I'm going to be creating an agent that helps me in making videos. So this is going to be a crazy video generation agent. So it's going to be generating video for me. So that's what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to call this one VidMaster. So this is going to be called VidMaster. So this is going to be a video generation agent that will be very cheap. So I want to make sure that this agent, this stuff is so cheap that I can run it completely for free without paying a dime. So we're going to be creating this agent together. So the next thing, I'm just going to give the name and the ID to be the same. So that's what I'm going to do. So the next thing, in terms of description, this doesn't really matter. So this is for you to know what the agent does. So I can just put VidMaster here. So the next thing is to select a model. So for this agent, so in this case, I'm going to be using Xiaomi. So I'm going to be using this Mimo V2.5 Pro. So this is my agent workspace. So I'm going to be leaving it here. So basically, if you have a predefined location on your system, so this is where we talk about your workspace. So this is where we talk about the workspace. So config and workspace. So this is how it looks like. Each time you create an agent, so QwenPaw has this QwenPaw working directory, which is this. So it's located in your home directory. So QwenPaw puts your agent in your workspaces, this folder. So it's in your working directory, and there is a place inside called workspaces that QwenPaw puts all your agents. So your agents will have like agent.json, chat.json, jobs.json, agents.md, skills, which is a folder that contains all your skill, browser, in case your agent is going to be using like doing some browser automation, you want to store like cookies and the rest, this will all be done here. So if you have multiple agents, this is where it will happen. Then if you have skills that are available to all your agents, they will be in the outermost directory. So this is what you should take note. So QwenPaw also has a secret directory. So within the QwenPaw, there is also a .QwenPaw.secret. That's where it puts all your environmental. This is the reason why it puts it here. I think is just to kind of like take it away from where your workspace, where your agent can easily delete a file. You know, you don't put those information here so that it won't be deleted. So it has its own secret directory. So that's what you should take note of. So your config.json file. So your config.json file is a global config where you have your model provider env. Your workspaces is where your agent lives. So, and each of your workspace you see is telling you about each thing. This is your conversation history. This is where your agent.json, channels, heartbeat, tools, skills, SCP, they are stored here. This is your token usage. So if you want to know what each file does, this is where you come and read and know exactly what each file does within the workspace. So now we are going to be creating the agent. So let's go back here. So I'm going to leave this one blank. So now we are talking about skills. So we're going to use this opportunity to talk about skills. Your agent will be nothing without skills. So your agent needs skills. Skills are just like recipe, just like this skill, there's something called make skills. So your agent also can make other skills. This is how your agent has to evolve. So for now, we're just going to be choosing the built-in tools. I also have a video in my channel that talks about tools and skills. If you want to open that video, you could actually be able to learn a lot about tools and skills. So now I'm going to use all the built-in tools, but there will be more. So, and I'm just going to say save. So now we have a VidMaster agent. So you see our agent has been created successfully. Now I'm going to switch to that agent. So I'm just going to come to VidMaster. So you see, so this is the agent. It's completely blank. So remember what we did when we were creating the agent. We did some few things. We were able to name the agent and we were able to select a model for the agent. Apart from selecting a model for the agent, we were able to define some skills for our agent. Look at the skills here. So this way, we choose some skills when creating the agent so that the agent can start working with these skills before we take the skills to the next level. So what I'm going to be doing right now is that I know that this agent will not just start working, will not just start helping. So I have to already know. So basically, you have to have a plan on how videos are being created by AI. And with that plan, you have to know exactly how to configure your agent to be able to do those kind of stuff for you. So I hope you've understand what skills is. So the next thing we're going to be talking about is tools. So tools are basically, these are built-in tools. They come with your agent. Without them, your agent will not be able to read files, edit files, write files. So tools are verbs. They are like actions that your agent does. So within your skill can reference a whole lot of tools, because your skill is more like a recipe. A with instructions, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. While your tool is doing a particular thing. So maybe when it comes to step 4, in your skill, you need to read a file. You use the read file tool. So your skill can have references to multiple tools. So MCP is just, so now we are going to start the journey. So what happens is that, so when you open a new chat, you either click on let's start a journey, or you see, you say, let's start a journey, or you continue chatting. So let's start a journey is the first ever prompt you're gonna chat with your model. So you're gonna say your agent. So you're gonna say, let's start a journey. So it's gonna ask you for your name, your nature, and your vibe. So here I'm just gonna tell you that my name, what should I be called? So his name. So I will say you are video master. So it's gonna be called video master. So you do know that that is his name. So I don't want to give it anything. I will just tell it what it does. So you create videos for me, period. So this is what it does using. So I could even using the best AI voice and video tools on the internet. So this is kind of like the first thing. Got it. You see, he knows for sure that it's video master. Now he's editing his soul.md. He's editing his profile.md. So you see, he's editing all these files to match with what I actually told it he is. So if you look at the files now, you see that the files they are constantly going to be edited. So you see soul.md, profile.md. So you could see video master, a video production engine. I turn ideas into video using the AI verse. You see, direct, efficient, career focus. You see what is so these files are constantly being updated from the very beginning. So this is also for the fact that it's going to be deleting this bootstrap.md. So now I need to approve that because it's a delete operation. It's kind of dangerous. This is one of the things that you get from using QwenPaw because QwenPaw is also security conscious. So now, so it's telling me, here's what I know. I make videos direct. So I got a video I want me to make. Give me a topic, a script, and an idea. So I will just tell it that make a video on Psalm 91. Read it aloud with nice images on the background. So this is what I want to give it as a task. Let's see how it's going to go about doing it. I'm going to show you why there's a problem with this kind of an approach. So you see, the problem with this kind of an approach is that you're making it so much the responsibility of your agent to figure out how to do it. So you're making it so much the responsibility of your agent to figure out how to do it. So now the best thing to do is you can already make your research about those tools, and then you will write a very nice prompt from the beginning that tells your agent exactly what to see. Now it's kind of like making sure that it's using like some open source tools that are available. Look at, it's using HTTS. I think this should be free. It's using FFmpeg. So this is for the video editing. It's using movie.py. So it's trying to get some things just to be able to make that video for me. So this is how you get to set up your agent. So you see, we've set up the agent. The files are, so I've talked about skill. So, but we are not done talking about skills. For us to be able to use skills properly, you need to understand that skills, they are external sources for skills. So one of them is called skill.sh, Cloud Hub, Skills MP. There's model scope. There's even, you could even look at the GitHub repo. For example, most repository now has a skill.md file or in them that you can just import. So let's look at skill.sh. So let's assume that I am going. So you click at this. This is what takes you there, you see? So if you want to go to skill, if you want to go to Cloud Hub, you want to go to Skill MP, you want to go to Loop Hub, and then you want to go to Loop Hub Market. So one of them didn't open. So let's see the ones that we've already opened. So here we can start looking for the skills. So one of the things I could look at here is video, so create Edu videos. So you see, I already have this create video. So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to search. So there are some people that already have this recipe on how to create videos. So let me see. So it has 151 2 months ago. So it's actually using HTTS. So exactly most of the things that my agent is already working on. So I might not really. So let's just say create videos. I expected it to show me all the skills. So let's just so we could see. Look at full AI pipeline to create dark motivational. Use create short form, so AI music video, AI market, Sora video creator. So there are so many of them. So look at all the. So let's say I'm interested in the first one, so I could just pull it up. So now we can also check other places as well. So here also we can search for video, and then you could see here that we have video frames, extract frames. There's video editing. There's video hyperframe. So there are a lot of stuff here. Let's see this video hyperframe. So this one talks about how many people have actually downloaded this. So we could take this. Let's see, I like this. So I could take this, copy this URL. QwenPaw also has a skill scanner that is going to scan the skill for malicious scripts. So you see, that's all I need to do. So from skill MP, I'm just going to say this, and all I need to do is import this skill. So I'm just going to say import and just give it some time. Or that's actually strange. So another thing we could also do, let's try another skill from skill MP. Okay, let's see Cloud Hub. So let's see this one. I'm going to also take this URL as well. Let's try installing it. I'm just going to take this one out, and I think this is from Cloud Hub. Then we're going to try and see what will happen. So we just give it some time. Okay, we also had a problem. I think maybe it has to do with the server where this QwenPaw was installed. So what I'm going to do, let me just troubleshoot it by trying it here. So I'm just going to come for the skills, and I'm going to come here. We're going to say upload via URL, and then we'll go paste this one and try to see exactly what is going to happen. I think it was the same. So one other thing we could do, if it refused to install this way, which is crazy, but what you could also do is just paste it on the chat. Like, okay, Video Master is still working. So what we could do is just paste this one on the chat and tell it to install skill. And you see, so all we need to do is just tell it to install this, and it's going to install the skill. So now our video is done, so we can try telling it to install the skill. So sometimes I find this to even be faster, because with this you don't even need to go to the skill to try to import it via the URL. You can just put it like this. QwenPaw is going to figure out a way, and it's going to install it for you. So let's watch and see what happens. As you could see here, it's thinking, so it's trying to browse the URL, so it will find out the appropriate way of installing the skill. So look at what it says. I can see the skill. It talks about what the skill is here. Let's say the skill is made up of 11 labs. So it's actually browsing through that website. Then it will figure out the best way to install the skill. So which is also very, very nice, as opposed to maybe trying to install it yourself. Like you see, it failed when I tried to install it myself. So look at what is happening. This is like the output of the skill. So let's give it some time. So the skill has been installed. So you see, the skill has been installed into this TikTok motivation video folder. The skill has been installed. But the problem is that the skill requires me to provide Cloud API key, 11 Labs API key, and Pixel. So I don't have that for now. But this is just to tell you that should, in case, just like I tried, you try to install a skill here, importing it. So normally you need to put the URL of the skill here. And let's say you come here, you get a skill that you like. Let's say skills.sh. And then let's say somehow you see video to AI video generation. So let's say you click here, and then you copy this, and then you bring it to QwenPaw, and then you paste it here. So the expectation is that when you paste this skill here, it's supposed to install. So you're supposed to install the skill with this, but somehow, okay, this was installed. So you see, crazy. So this was installed. So this is how you installed a skill. Or you could use the other approach that I just showed you here, where you kind of like just paste the URL of the skill like this and tell it to install it. And QwenPaw is actually going to go to the internet and do all the installation for you. So let's tell it to show us the video. So I'm going to tell it, send the video to me. So in QwenPaw, when you say send the video to me, what will actually happen is that it's going to provide you a link to download the video. So the very video that it has been working on is going to send it to us. So look at the file here. So I can download the file here. So I can click here, and play that file. So,
Shadow of the Almighty.
So I can actually hear the audio of the sound.
Of the Lord,
so this is the video that the agent was able to
your
generate.
shield, and see no disaster will come near you.
So this was generated by the agent. So, and this one was generated. So you could see a very nice video that was generated by this agent. So that means we could create this kind of videos. So what I could tell it to do now is that, so when you have this kind of a recipe that worked so perfectly for you, you can tell it that create a skill based on the steps to produce this Psalm 91 video, so that next time when you want to create this kind of video, you don't need to stress yourself again. Oh, he said the request was rejected because it was considered high risk. So let's say why. So he said the request was rejected. So let's see why it was. So I'm quickly going to change this model. So I'm going to come to my pro models. I'm using GLM 5.2, and I'm going to ask, go ahead, create the skill. So hopefully the skill get created. While we are trying to create this skill, one of the things I want to show you for example is that we could look at MCP servers. So I could show you what MCP servers are. So let's say, for example, you are not okay with the tools you have. So MCP is kind of like a protocol where people could share skills to you. So if you look at it here, so as you could see here, it says QwenPaw uses the model context protocol to connect to external services and provides a suite of building tools that enable agent to. So if you want some tools, let's say for example for drawing, let's say we want to be able to like create some diagrams. So there is this popular tool called draw.io. It enables you to kind of like create like flowchart and the rest. So you could see here, you could just balloon this to whatever you want. You could add some color to it. But doing this manually, it's kind of like not too efficient. So now I'm the line. This is the line color, so we could fill it with some gradient. So you see, this is crazy. But to be able to do this thing, you can actually get this thing done by actually by getting the MCP server for it. So let's go look for the MCP. So I will just say MCP, then I will say draw.io. So that's what I'm going to say here. I'm going to look at, there's a GitHub repo for it here. So I'm just going to come for it. I'm going to look for what I think there's this connection details that's like JSON that we can just call it MCP app server. Let's see what it is here. Okay, something like, so maybe this is what I'm going to take. So it said, so let me try. So using with cursor, add to cursor. So I'm just going to copy this and then I'm going to take it to my agent. So hopefully this is it. So I'm going to say create client. And you see the example, I'm just going to paste this one here and I'm going to say create. Basically, you see, so the belief here is that the server may not expose. So maybe this, I'm going to delete this one and look for something else. But you get the idea. The idea is basically, the idea is simple. So let me look on it. Let me look for it on GitHub. Maybe this is good. So let's see. Okay, this one has an NPX, so this might work. So I'm going to copy it. It's just because I'm doing it live per se. So you make your research. And then when you paste this connection, this is going to install the server on your system. So I'm going to create, you don't need to authorize. So it's still connecting. Please try. So what will happen is that with this MCP server installed here, that means I will have a set of tools that will enable this model to be able to create diagrams. So if I ask it now to, for example, create a diagram, it will be able to create a diagram. So create a diagram. So let's see, it's still saying it's a, so create a diagram on the process of creating the video. Let's see. And then I'm going to tell it use draw.io, something like this. Let's see what is going to happen. So the essence of this is for you to enable you. So for example, if you're working with like 11 labs and you want to like tap into their video. So let's say 11 labs, MCP. So they also will have an MCP. So you could see here, let's look at model context protocol documentation. So 11 Lab definitely will have an MCP server. So when you subscribe, you could be able to connect to their MCP server, and via their MCP server examples, look at what they're saying. Anthropic MCP server examples. So these are different servers for Notion, so you could use it to connect to a whole lot of things. So I wanted to see how that could be done for 11 Labs, but let's not make this video about that. So, but the essence is, let's go back to our chat and see what's happening. That it's telling me to open to draw.io. Make sure I have. So maybe the tools are not yet exposed to the server. So let's say I have an MCP server. So I'm going to tell you to create the docs yourself and outline the video creation process. So this is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to create a new provider here. I'm just going to put so I'm just going to say ZMI because I've already used Xiaomi, and then for display name I will say ZMI, and then for the base URL you will always come to the platform. Look at, so they say compatible with OpenAI, so I have to copy. So you see they will give you the URL. It's called the base URL. So these are the two things you will need. So I will paste this one here, and then for the protocol they're asking me if I want it to be like Anthropic message API, I have to choose Anthropic. Therefore, also this will change. So if I come back here, you see this is compatible with Anthropic. Look at it. So it's a different one. So I have to copy this one if that's what I want. So for the Anthropic, so I have to change this base to match with Anthropic. You see, then I create. Immediately I create, it will be available for me. So immediately we say X. So let's see custom. You see here we have this X Xiaomi, and then we have this XMI. So it's custom. Look at it here. But there are no models. So there are no models. So now you need to manually add the models. So, and to add the model, you need to come to this page. Look at the models. So I need to copy this model, for example. And when I come to this page, I need to add the model. So you add the model. So what I normally do is paste the same thing for model name, and that's how you add the model. Model has been added. So this is the model. So somehow you test the connection here. You say unknown exception when connecting to model. So one of the things I could do. So let me come back to settings. I think there's a problem somewhere, maybe with the anthropic settings. So I come here in settings. So in this case, did I paste the API? So the protocol was anthropic message API, but the API key maybe wasn't pasted. So let's go get the API key. So we copy this API and try it here again, and then we save. So after pasting the API key, let's see what happens again when we work with the model. So we're going to say models, and then here we're going to test connection became successful. So because the model can now work. So now when I open a new chart, I can actually switch to that model. So I can switch to XMI and that one. So this is how you connect everyone. So you're either going to be seeing Anthropic API or you're going to be seeing OpenAI compatible API, and each of them will have a base URL and an API key, and that's how you connect to paid providers. So they already have like a lot of paid providers here, so you could choose anyone you want. So this is how I ended up using this plan. So for me, I'm using a $50 plan. So depending on your usage, you go start with like a $6 plan. Then you monitor the way you're using it, and definitely use Chinese models more because of cost. So the next thing we're going to be talking about is the skill pool. So I've told you what a skill is. So a skill pool is basically all the skills that you have that might not necessarily be in any. So you could broadcast to agent. So broadcast to agent means you are sending this skill. So if you have a skill, so these are broadcast to workspace. So if you choose this one, let's say this one is scrappling, it's not available in this guy. So these are all my workspaces. So if I like, I can give lead generation this one. You see? So it's more like you're moving this skill that is available in your warehouse. So see this skill pool as your warehouse of skill. And then now you are moving the skill. So there's also a skill market. So QwenPaw also provide you this place where you could, most of them are Chinese. So like novel writing, voice document maker, legal breaker, AI doctor book, megaphone, copilot. So there are a lot of skills here. But they are also like external marketplaces with better skills. So you see, these are for QwenPaw. So that's it. So when you talk about environment, so you see, here is where you set environment variable. For example, here you see QwenPaw auth enable. If I tick this one here, so this one here is set for true. That means each time, that's why each time you try to log in, if you copy this URL now on your own environment, you will not be able to have access to it. It's hosted on the internet, but you won't have access to it because I have set this QwenPaw auth enable to true. So when you set this one to true, it means that each time you want to have access to QwenPaw, you will be able to log in with your username and password. So this is it. So another thing is security. So security, this is all round security. So you remember we have security for your model here in the configuration folder where you have this tool execution security. But for your entire agent, you can manage your security here. So this is enable tool guard. So you can decide to power it all down. This is skill scanner. So these are skill scanner, one in only. So you could decide to say block anytime that the skill contains some malicious element, you will be able to block. Allow no host. So you could see no auth host. So I'm the one that actually added this. So you could put a URL here and add it here so that by default, these ones will not be blocked by auth. So if you are hosting, this could be very useful. So token usage, this is where you know how much tokens you've been using over the period and which model, how much each model has actually consumed you. So if you look at it so far, that GLM 5.2 seem to be the most used model. Now, this one is also coming up as well. So you could see them here from the usage plan. So backup is how you create a backup for all your agents. So you could do a full backup, you could do a partial backup. So partial backup, you could back up your skills, you could back up, and then this backup is actually useful because at the end of the day, you could also import it. So when you are done setting up your agent, you could take back your backup and it will restore almost all the stuffs that you had. So you can move your QwenPaw and transfer your QwenPaw from one system to the other. So I'm not going to be talking about this voice transcription. But I'm going to talk about plugin. So plugin is a way in which you extend the capabilities of your model. So this is basically for people who write code. You could be able to write code to enhance your own QwenPaw. You could add tools, for example. So if you come to the QwenPaw docs, let me see whether I can show you the QwenPaw docs. So if you come to the QwenPaw docs, and somewhere within the QwenPaw docs, if you look at plugin system, so you could discover that QwenPaw supports a whole lot of plugins. So I want to show you. So plugin is of course code you write and you install. I want to show you some. So there are a whole lot of examples, even how to add a custom front-end page. You can even add a custom front-end page to your QwenPaw. But this is, as I said, this is for developers. You can add also your own provider. So if, for example, you did not see a provider, so you could create a plugin and add a provider. Add custom provider. These are the usage example. Example one, add custom provider. So you just need to do this, and this is how your plugin.json will look like. The name of the plugin, this is what it's going to read. And then this is the implementation. So you see, so this is for OpenAI provider. Then you're going to write all the things you're going to write. So this is an example, and then to install it, you're going to say QwenPaw install that provider, and then you start your app. So this one is a startup hook. So this is how you do the example 2. This is how you get a startup hook started. So they gave so many examples on this is add a custom page. So this is how you will do that. To be able to add a custom page to your QwenPaw. This is custom chat welcome. So if you don't like, if you want to customize QwenPaw, so you could also customize it. So another thing that is worth talking about here is the REST API. So I just want to briefly talk on this. Let's say you want to also communicate with, like you want to write another UI completely that talks to QwenPaw using, QwenPaw has like this API endpoints that you could talk to. So this is the end of this video. So it was a very lengthy one. So it was just basically to walk you through all of QwenPaw's features. So it wasn't really a planned video. It was a video that I just decided to try. So look at now. It looked like our draw.io, this thing has been created. So look at the file here. So this is just for me to kind of like take you through all of QwenPaw. There were so many aspects that I didn't cover, and it was not a planned video ahead of time. It was basically meant for me to show you how you could work with QwenPaw. If you like this kind of content, subscribe to my channel and I will keep bringing them up.